All right, here's my slide for my net worth update. So you see here is quarter one again of 2021. So you see it broken down as Awesome Mama. As I shared, that is my brand, like my company, Awesome Mama Enterprises. So I'm describing here all the accounts that I have and the values of them, what debts I have, and so on. So as you should know, or we all should know, net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. That equals your net worth. So in January, well, first let me break down the column under Awesome Mama, the categories. So as you see, I have two checking accounts and I have my everyday checking, I like to say. To me, a checking account really is like a conduit account. To me, is how I can say it. So when I get paid, I split my checks into different accounts based on the objectives and the goals for that. So I have two checking accounts. So I have one at my local credit union, then I have another at Fidelity. So Fidelity is my low cost broker of choice that I'm using for my investing for financial independence. And so with them, they have a cash management account that works similar to like a checking account. So that way, when I get paid, I split my check into two. So some goes, the majority goes to my everyday checking and pay my everyday bills, and then I have the portion that I'm choosing to invest for my future directly go to the Fidelity cash management account. And then from there, I make deposits into my investment accounts. So that's kind of the, not kind of, that is the path I take and how I get my check from my employer, and then I do that. Of course, prior to even receiving the money from my employer, my 401k percentage is taken pre-tax 7% because they match 7%, which I'm very happy and thankful for. So after my two checking accounts, I have two savings accounts. And my savings account's a little bit different. So I have what I call like a rainy day fund that I keep in like a small overage for now, as I build it up over time to get to that larger cash reserve, like I tell you my goal is to have. But then I also have an emergency CD. So it's not something that I need to access immediately, but by putting it into a CD at this current credit union that I have, I'm receiving 3% interest on that. And as you know, currently at the banks, given the inflation rates or rates at the Fed, the returns are very low, like less than 0.10% return interest on your checking accounts. So to get a CD that's paying me 3%, and what's also nice too, is that it allows you to add money incrementally throughout the time. So I didn't have to have a large amount to get started on that CD. I was able to invest in it over time to build it up, as you can see there. So that's why I have those two. So I have my rainy day fund, I like to say, where I'm keeping my short amounts until it becomes my opportunity fund. And then I have my emergency CD that's locked for a period of time, but I can always add more money into it over time. This is why I like it. Then I have my revolving debt. And I said it's just an aggregate of my credit card debt, and I'm going to list all the credit cards that I have in the individual amount balances. But as you can see there, that's my aggregate credit card debt that I have. And as you see, my credit card debt had increased a lot in quarter one, and that's because I launched my businesses. Initial startup costs I put on my credit card, so that way, one, I can get the reward points from it, yes, but also two, it's the way of tracking my businesses through that, so I can write off and deduct what cost was and such for each of those business items. So that's why it increased, and my hope is that in quarter two we see some return and debt paid off because my other ventures brought in additional revenue. That's the hope. But that's the increase of my credit card debt in quarter one. So then I have my non-retirement individual brokerage account. So I'm investing in that to be the fund that I use to access intermittently between not touching my Coast FI goals, like my retirement accounts. So I want to have that individual brokerage account outside of retirement that I can access when the time comes. So I'm started that. And then I have my retirement accounts. So I have my 401k, my Roth IRA, an HSA, and then a credit union IRA. So going back to that same one I have, they offer a 3% IRA. So I decided, you know what? I started in January. So as I mentioned, you can incrementally add $50 at a time to increase that. So I figured for my plan for my Roth IRA that out of the 6,000 that we're allowed to, invest in the IRA, I'm going to do at least 1,000 in cash in IRA at my credit union. So over the course of the year, I'm going to be adding funds to get to like $1,000 into that IRA to receive that 3%. And the rest of that, so my goal is to have 5,000 invested into the market through my Roth IRA at Fidelity. So it's like a little short update on that goal. Then I have my installment debt. So I do have an outstanding car loan. And so that's the balance is there. And you see it's incrementally going down across the time. Then I own my home and my current house value for each of those months, which was nice to see how my house appreciated pretty well considering how much I owe. So that's really has contributed a lot to my net worth value. It has been my home appreciation. So that has been a nice plus. So there also below that, you see I'm also tracking my son, my awesome son's net worth. So my goal is by the time he's 18, that he has a net worth of $100,000. That is my goal for him. Of course, we want more even, but at least my goal is, hey, he's 4 years old. Right now, he has the worth of $2,000. But by the time he's 18, he's going to have the worth of $100,000. And mommy's going to track that every quarter to make sure we reach that. And so in summary, I'll say my net worth at the year end of 2020, it was $22,748. At the end of quarter one, of 2021, I made a mistypo there. It had increased to $29,706. So your girl is on her way to get into that 100,000 net worth one day very soon. But of course, my main goal and focus for my next step is to reach Coast F5. And we know that I'm going to reach there by the end of 2021. And I'm going to take you along the journey to make sure I do. And let's go to the next slide that I have to share with you I'm excited about. Is looking at my overall investment portfolio growth since the year end of 2020. And let's see if the slide works. It's going to give me so much trouble today. Okay, here we go. And let me go ahead and move my camera so that way you can see me good. Okay, here we go. All right. So at the end of quarter 4 of 2020, my individual brokerage balance was $15.57. At the end of quarter 1 of 2021, I had invested up to where my balance was $2,125. So it grew by 36%, which means that includes, of course, growth from the market, but also to my incremental investments that I made in quarter 1. So which add up to be about $568. For my 401k, which was a nice boost, and why is this? At the end of quarter 2020, it was $5,669. At the end of quarter 1, 2021, it was $8,394. So I had an increase by 48%. I had additional deposits and growth from the market of $2,725. What was great here is that I had crossed over to being officially a year, at my company. So I qualified to receive the company match. And also they did an additional profit sharing deposit into the employee's account. So that helped me get a nice boost in quarter 1 of 2021. As far as my Roth IRA, my balance at the end of quarter 4, 2020 was $6,096. At the end of quarter 1, it was $7,206. So I had a growth of 18% with additional investments and market growth to $1,110. Then as far as my HSA, I had just started in December of 2020, so I had $100.02. And then end of quarter 1, I had $1,276 in my HSA. Like a huge growth, it seems, of 115%, of including contributions of $1,174. Now, for me, I'm actually someone who uses her HSA. So I'm not just saving the money aside for a future like retirement, like some folks are doing that, but I do a good balance of saving and investing a portion of my HSA, but leaving some in cash that I'm actually using to pay for my copays. So because my son has autism and the cost of ABA therapy is high, it's very high, and I'm thankful that I have an employer that covers it at 90%. So I do pay copays out for that. But surprisingly, we actually met our out-of-pocket max for paying into our HSA plan in March. So going forward, I have nothing else I have to pay for his care. So God really blessed there. But because of that, though, I was using my HSA and paying off those costs. But thankfully, going forward, we should see a large growth in my HSA because I'll have no longer to pay any copays. Then as far as my son's net worth, at the end of 2020, he had $600 in his UTMA. In the quarter, he had a 708, a growth of 18%. Then his ABLE account had $1,012, and now it's at March 31st, it was at 1,300, an increase of 28%. So that has been our investment growth over quarter one of 2021. And on to our next slide I wanted to share with you and get your feedback too. And let's see if okay, here we go. If my slideshow will work with me. And lastly, we'll go ahead and move my thing again. And there it is. Okay. So my quarter two goals is to continue automatic investment plans. As I shared, many of it I do right out of my paycheck. And then from those different accounts, I automatically have to go and pay or invest into either my CD for that or my savings. Then, of course, within my Fidelity account, once my money goes into that cash management account, I automatically transfer the funds over into my Roth IRA, individual brokerage account, and then my son's accounts as well. So continue that same plan. To generate additional income from new streams. So as I shared, I started my businesses and I'm excited to begin to generate new income from them as well. Pay down debt, and of course, have fun reaching goals along the way. And this is really why I chose CoStep-Fi. It's because once I reach that number for my retirement, I'm going to have fun, guys. I'm going to enjoy my money and my everyday life for the now. Still, of course, save and build toward debt freedom and all of that. But I'm someone who's going to do both. So I believe you can do both. You can invest for your future, but also pay down debt. And then, of course, with personal finance being personal, you define what works best for you. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments, learning more about your CoStep-Fi goals for my coasters out there. Look forward to hearing your tips and tricks as well. Link me to you on other social medias within YouTube so I can follow you and watch you as well. So again, you can find me on Instagram at Mocha Mama on Fire. Please do like this video and subscribe. And I look forward to talking to you more about all these topics that I enjoy the most, which is CoStep-Fi, financial independence, and of course, talking about awareness around Black autism families and acceptance of autism within the communities. So I thank you and God bless. Until next time, bye.